I've always had kind of an itch, if you will, to make things work better, to understand how things are working and fix the process. So if you see me at an airport, I'm constantly going, oh, that's terrible, that's terrible. We can fix that. This needs to work better. They could really automate all of that. And, my mind is always like that. It's always been that way. It's a flaw or a gift. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's helped me in my career. I've been doing the IT stuff for about 30 years now.
Welcome to Agents of IT, where we decode the future of enterprise automation and explore what it really takes to achieve agentic, zero-ticket IT. We chat with a wide variety of guests to discover what's broken in IT operations and spotlight the tech and teams leading the zero-ticket charge. Whether you're a CIO trying to shift from reactive firefighting to strategic value, or an automation architect building the next-gen service desk, this is the space for you.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Hoyer, CEO of Resolve.
And I'm Ari Stowe, COO of Resolve. And today we're joined by Bob Armstrong, AVP of Service Operations at Assurant. I think I got that right, Bob. Is that accurate?
That's it. That's it.
All
Yeah,
right.
you can call me whatever you like, but yeah, that's the official title. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for taking the time to talk about your automation journey and kind of AI and automation as you see it. So we'll kick off the normal way. It was tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of the beginning of what sparked your automation and AI journey in IT.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Ari. It's been, like you said, a journey. It's never ending as far as I'm concerned. I've always had kind of an itch, if you will, to make things work better, to understand how things are working and fix the process. So if you see me at an airport, I'm constantly going, oh, that's terrible, that's terrible. We can fix that. This needs to work better. They could really automate all of that. And, my mind is always like that. It's always been that way. It's a flaw or a gift. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's helped me in my career. I've been doing the IT stuff for about 30 years now. I started in the help desk area and kind of grew up in that service operations world. I've ventured off, done a couple of other things with HR technologies and some other adventures, and really found my passion in service ops and just making things work better. Having a tally sheet at the end of the day saying we solved this many problems, we made someone's life better this way. It's really been that's the passion that kind of drives what I do, and then helping other people express their will and do things and make things better for their customers as well. And just fixing process really has been most of the last 25 years. I've been at Assurant for 25 years, so most of my journey's been with this company.
That's dedication right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure a lot of people at the airport would love for you to hop in and fix many of those problems.
I for one would enjoy that.
Yeah, indeed.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like, for a while, automation and process improvement has been part of your kind of day to day with the teams. How do you feel like some of the technology changes and things that have happened over the last, year and a half, have changed that? How have they accelerated that? And what does that look like bringing that technology into your experience with your day-to-day customers?
Yeah, it's disruptive for sure. I mean, AI is going to be the biggest change in our lifetimes, probably in our kids' lifetimes. It seems like anyway. So it really has made automation front and center, I think, because we've talked about, oh, I wish I could do this. I wish I could do that. I just need 10 more people to go and, dig through logs and find the solutions. Now we have bots and automated agents that can go do the grunt work and the heavy lifting for us. And we can put our brains to use on creating those opportunities and expressing better workflows, better ways of working, just by pushing buttons, really. And it's great for us, people in my chair, all the people that work with me. Frontline people are loving all of the automation stuff coming their way, and not having to type a full solution in a ticket. Just say, hey, go write the resolution for me, and the bots will take care of it for them. They love it. Simplifies their life. Customers are on and off the call quickly. They get consistent results. It's been phenomenal, and the data that comes back from it we can use and find even more opportunities, saying, okay, our bot did well, but the agent should have asked this question in the front and pushed the bot down a different path. And so we're learning how to be AI agent managers, and not just people managers. So it's been a great experience this last year, and we're a ServiceNow shop. I think that's okay to say that. So everything we want to do, it's just basically plug and play.
It's
right?
fine.
Yeah, you can edit that out if you like.
So it's super interesting, man. Like one of the things that like I talk with my marketing leader about a lot is like this weird kind of like line that we draw around AI. And like a lot of people are afraid AI is going to take their jobs, going to take their role. But like the reality of where AI is at in almost every case is it's more of a companion. It's more of a tool to use. And like I personally think about it as like a trainee. Like it is basically a trainee that you have that you can help and grow and support, and they can do more and more things. I'm really interested in like what you've seen and how you've kind of tackled this fear issue in those frontline employees of like, is it taking my job? If I invest in this thing and help it get better, is it going to replace me? Like, I'm really interested in like what you've seen there and what you've learned.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's all over the place. All of our teams have said that. We've got some tier one, tier two, even tier three folks in my org that are wondering those same things. I wonder that, do we even need people to tell them what to do now if it's the same thing over and over. But what I always say, what our team kind of our attitude is around AI is it is a tool in the toolbox, and we are here do we need a hammer, do we need a screwdriver, do we need a wrench? Those are the things that we're doing. We're coordinating all these efforts, and we're helping train these agents and the AI to get better, and we're setting up our systems to learn from what we do. And one of the big takeaways from this is our internal knowledge and support article type information was outdated and needs a lot of help. It was written for people to read, and it's some of the AI is more checklist oriented. Do these 5 steps. So if we can gear our mentality towards writing things that way, and capturing information that way. So if let's say we're on a phone call and we help somebody fix something like their monitor's got a funky display, and we go through 5 steps and none of the first 4 did anything. We don't want to record all those first 4 steps. We only want to record the 5th step, and we don't want AI to go through all 5 steps, right? So we have to write the tickets in a certain way to make sure that we're not giving, it's good triage, but we've already done it and we know it doesn't work. So don't do that again, AI, right? We only want you to do the
that's
end.
That's everyone's favorite experience when they call, the giant ISPs who are like, have you unplugged your modem? Yeah, man, I have obviously done that before I called you, and you're running through the same steps. So you mentioned something that I think is pretty interesting. Like you mentioned writing the knowledge articles a little bit different, working with the AI agent different. Are you seeing like a change in skill set and a change in mindset from the technicians that you're working with that are working with AI? And if so, like, what's that like, and how has that been embraced?
Open arms embraced. Yeah, we've got a couple of folks that are kind of leading on the leading edge here and helping the rest of our teams through this journey, and they're just they're at the point. The initial response was, oh, if I do this, they're going to take my job. And it's like, no, if I do this, you're going to get a new job because you're really good at this, and we need you and 3 more people to come in and do some of this work. So they're embracing the adventure. They are definitely learning new skills. They're understanding and digging in. They have more time to ask questions about, well, why can't we use a generic wildcard in a SQL database query? Before it was they did something wrong, we fix it, and let's move on. Now they're understanding, they're absorbing the technologies around them, and they're starting to learn. They're becoming that jack of all trades, master of none, which is fine, but it's really strengthening their abilities to do that critical thinking and triage, and to help their coworkers. I mean, that's been my mantra is train yourselves and train others around you. That's how we all grow together, and it's helping, at light speed. It's just been crazy.
Well,
It's really interesting that you called that out. Sorry, I promise. Just real quick, Sean. I
no,
think it's
Ari, I
I think it's
outrank
really,
you.
I think it's really interesting that that you called out that the jack of all trades, master of none. I actually just had a conversation last week with a customer, and he kind of said that same thing. And he said, originally I thought that was going to be a problem because I thought expanding my technicians' ability to do things in different places, but they didn't have the context, would mean they would make more mistakes and things they didn't understand. But he said that like what he saw was that actually they were learning how to use the tools, so they were like double checking with the agent before they did anything. Do you see that too? Like, do you see, whether it shows up as somebody being gun shy, or whether you see them just like questioning the agent, like, are you sure this is what's to do, like, here's some extra information? Like, are you seeing that, like, okay, now I'm responsible for more, I can touch more, I've got to be double sure when I go and do things?
Yeah, for sure. It's the old measure twice, cut once, right? I want to double check. Yeah, the bot said that, but let's in reality go try this first. I do this just about every day. I'm going through, the tickets that our frontline teams are logging, and then I'm recreating the scenario to see, okay, did the bot respond correctly? What else should we have asked on the front end, and how can we do better in guiding, the AI through what it needs to do? We also, obviously, in this, it's fast-paced incident world, right? We're trying to fix things that are broken. We've got Google over here. We've got Copilot over here. We've got all these AI assistants that are helping us. But at the end of the day, the human has to be the one doing the reasoning, putting the context around it, like you said, and pulling the trigger, making that decision until they've done it enough times that they're confident to just let the bot go and do it. But yeah, it is a check and then go. There is that safety sort of, I don't know what you call it, but it's the, they haven't quite let the child go all the way on their own yet on their bicycle, right?
So I'll let my children make decisions
either.
Yeah. Am I allowed to speak now, Ari? Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry. Yes,
okay.
I'm done my question. Yeah.
All right, good. There's something you said in there that I think is super interesting. Like when I started my career, I was a developer, and Agile became like the thing. Agile was the thing that was like going through engineering at the time, and it was the way to stand out. And so I chose to go become an expert in Agile and Scrum and extreme programming and like all the frameworks instead of getting my MBA. And like it served me incredibly well. Like I elevated myself in my company very fast as the expert in the new thing. And something you said in there kind of triggered that to me, of like these folks that are really embracing the opportunity that AI creates and really leaning into it and becoming experts in it are probably, like, it sounds like what you're saying, are elevating themselves within the company to being like, now they're kind of a center of gravity. They're pulling people to them. And it's probably a really interesting and compelling career move for someone that's ambitious and likes this. Like, am I reading back that correctly? And I'd love if you have any advice for people that see that as an opportunity, how to lean into it. Cause it's, for the young guns out there that are trying to figure out how to stand out, this might be a big opportunity
in the shifting space. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fast paced, it's crazy, wild ride. But yeah, we've got a few people who are becoming sort of the go-to for the rest of their department or their adjacent, teams. And some of them really love it. Some of them are like, whoa, I just want to do this for myself. I don't really want to be, center of attention and all of that. But for the most part, yeah, they love it. They embrace it. If you're starting out and you're trying to figure out, what can I do? Where do I apply this? I think there's some rules to follow. And it's like simplify, streamline, automate. Don't try and automate something. And this is basic stuff that everyone hears all the time, but don't try and automate the most complex thing you have in your environment, because it's not going to work. It's going to be frustrating. You have to step back, break it into little tiny chunks, and then automate chunk 1, chunk 2. Maybe chunk 3 can't be automated at all, and there has to be a human involvement that comes in, and then it goes on and finishes step 4 and 5. But simplify, streamline, automate, that's been our MO here that I've been trying to get our teams to follow. And what it's really led to is our documentation is pretty good, but has a lot of opportunities to get better. in that mindset. So simplify the automation or simplify the documentation so the automation has a better chance of getting it right. So that's been one of the big outcomes we've seen, and what we're spending a lot of time on right now is we're finding knowledge base information that's 9-10 years old, that's still active in the system, and so the bots are seeing it and presenting that as opportunities or solutions to try to fix something, and we're like, no, we don't even have Windows XP or whatever the topic was. So yeah, you got to be careful.
I can't put my AOL disk in this CD-ROM tray.
Right.
Yeah, it's super interesting. So, all right. So, book plug. If you are aspiring agent builder out there, go read the book Lynchpin by Seth Godin. But don't tell your boss that I recommended it. That's all I'm just. All right. You can go back to asking like meaningful questions now.
This is not only a podcast; it's an interview for Bob to the Grain Gang, right? Like we've got to grow the gang now. So
we have an opening.
Right. So, one of the things that Sean and I have talked about a lot, and I think the AI. Anytime you have like a big fundamental shift in technology or in process, you see a couple of things, like new problems coming up that you have to solve, and also new ways you have to think about and measure things. So I'm curious, like, have you had that conversation of how are you measuring success with these things? Like, obviously some of the old metrics like, MTTR are still valid because you're still trying to solve your customers' problems. But what new things have you seen come up that are measures of success and your efforts into these automation and AI forays?
Yeah, for us, the biggest measure is CSAT, customer satisfaction, and we have what we're doing right now is trying to replace our legacy ways of measuring that and incorporating that into the AI conversation and having the bot say, hey, thumbs up or thumbs down for me, trying to keep it casual without presenting someone the 9,000th survey of the day, right? Everyone gets all these surveys all the time. So we're trying to make it more conversational to get that feedback and give us a rating. And it's been slow. It's difficult to kind of rework your entire world. But that's the direction we're heading, is to make CSAT part of the conversation without anybody even knowing they're doing it. And getting more responses. We get about a 10% response rate on our surveys, which is pretty good industry wise, but not anywhere near what we'd like to have as service owners. We would like to have more participation, good, bad, whatever. We want to hear it all. So we're trying to work that into the AI conversations as we're building our virtual agents and deploying, giving them more capabilities. That's the close. That's going to be the big bang that we close with. And have the bots just have that conversation without the customer really knowing that they're being surveyed. So that's how we're trying to do that. Plus, we've also seen pretty good, solid deflection rates. So we're unfortunately what we're seeing is kind of it's the natural outcome, right? So the easy break fix stuff starts being handled automatically. So the longer calls come through to the help desk, more complicated things, which really gets the frontline juices flowing, and they're excited because they get to solve big problems now and not just password reset all the time. But those calls take longer. So their service levels are that they try to measure themselves on. So we're trying to shift that too and get our frontline metrics. It's not all about how many calls did you take. It's how many calls did you solve. I don't care how long it took you. It just, did you fix this? Because it's a hard problem,
That's one of the things that Sean and I had talked about a lot that we really liked about this shift is like when you start to get rid of the simple break fixes and things like that, then you can start to provide more of the like white glove experience for the things that actually matter, for the things that you're like, I don't want to answer these 10 questions. Like, I don't know what's going on. Help me. Right. And now your team has time to actually go spend with that person and unpack those issues. So I think that's great. It's interesting to hear that you're shifting, using this to shift towards like that XLA or experience level, outcomes. And I think it's going to be interesting over the next couple of months, weeks, years, while the service desk shifts to this, to see like what other metrics we haven't yet identified that will help us truly understand that. Because like you said, I think one of the ones that we talk about sometimes is like new problems. Like, was this the first time this problem has been experienced? How many new problems are you seeing, and how do they get solved and stuff like that? So it'll definitely be an interesting journey for sure as we kind of shift that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, our SVP has asked questions a lot. And internally, I hope he's not listening, but we kind of joke about he always wants to know, what did we fix that we didn't know was broken, or how do we avoid a problem? How do we document what didn't happen? Right. And that's where AI can really help us. We can develop agents that can go out and say, oh, there was a near miss. We caught that and fixed that. Let's report that back to leadership saying, yeah, our processes that we're putting in place are actually stopping things from happening, versus everyone having to call in or log a ticket or engage with the virtual agent. So we're trying to report on what didn't happen is the next big.
That's
big
not a
thing
hard metric. That's not a hard metric to quantify. What
Unknown
didn't happen,
unknowns.
Bob?
Now you're unknown unknowns.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's super interesting though. Like the path that you're on is really compelling. Like the being able to track, have I seen this problem before, is a really interesting metric too. Is like, have I seen this problem before? Have I seen it 2 times, 5 times, 10 times? And like, at what level is it not acceptable that you have to handle it manually? A human has to touch it, like that's a really interesting way. Like, it's a complete reframe of the help desk and what your goal is and what outcomes you're trying to create is if it's not novel, then why am I touching it? Why does it need my time? Like, it's a very different approach of protecting my intelligence and my contribution for only the things that really like matter and are impactful. It's I don't know. To me, it seems like it would be much more fulfilling job, than just rote mechanical repetitive work.
Right.
Well,
Absolutely.
and those kind of experiences will change the like, how long were you on the call, or how fast did you solve the problem, to did you just get the problem done, or how well are you equipped to solve something you've never seen before, right? And like, I think that
and the
does make the experience better.
That you were mentioning, Bob, like that's the other thing. And Ari's talked about this a lot because he knows ITIL and all that other stuff that I
4-letter word.
Yeah.
Agreed.
But he talks, talking about documenting your work. Like in the past, you're so busy that like trying to document every step you went through and the whole conversation into that ticket was like, do I really need to do this? Because I've got a backlog of 50 things, which is more important, boss? Like, I document the crap out of this ticket, or I go fix these 50 things. Right. And in this world, it seems like it's like, well, it's more important to document it because then you can maybe automate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the win. I mean, every co-pilot, helper, agent, everybody that's selling you something, is the first thing they say is, I can summarize the incident for you. I can document the resolution. I can give you a post-incident report. It's like, great. Those are the things we need, but we need you to not make us type all that stuff in. So how do you get that naturally through the process, right?
Tell Aaron, we should start saying that.
I mean, I do. So I think that's an interesting transition, Bob. So like, one of the things that Sean and I spend a lot of time talking about is, and when we do our article reviews and stuff, there's a lot of articles out there that are saying there's a decent amount of hype out there around AI and automation, and there's obviously there's value and people are getting value in doing successful things, but as a leader in this space, how are you differentiating between like real value and AI hype, and where you use a tool for that versus maybe something where you need to create an initiative and go back and think about it and build your knowledge or whatever? Like, how do you kind of see the forest through the trees with some of that stuff?
Yeah, we have the hype cycles, and that's part of it, and that's what gets you excited, and that's what gets you to want to do more things with AI and automation. And so we don't really stop people from being excited and presenting. I like putting in a request, say I want Copilot Studio so I can do this, and this, because I read an article that said I can solve world hunger with this automation. It's like, okay, let's go do that. And along the way, you coach them through some of the hype stuff and say, okay, practically, what business problem are we solving? Because at the end of the day, we have to be solving a problem to be doing some of this. Or what problem do you think this will help us fix down the road? If we do these 5 things, what's the next big thing that's going to be broken over there that we can get ahead of? So we're always trying to think a step ahead of what's going on, especially because I have a group that facilitates major incident outage calls. So it's like, yes, okay, let's try that as the fix, but then what? What if that doesn't work? Or what if it makes it worse? What are you going to do then? So you have to be a couple steps ahead, and using AI and automations to kind of run through some scenarios and say, hey, but what if I do this? And having that be able to come back and say, oh, don't do that, because you'll break the firewall for everybody or something, some crazy outcome. That's the big thing we're looking at. But the hype cycles are there. We just want people to be curious. If I had a t-shirt, I'd put that on there, be curious, ask questions, just go try it. You're not going to make the situation worse usually. No one has access to do that. So we put some guardrails in to make sure people don't turn off the firewall or whatever, something crazy like that. But yeah, try it, run a scenario. If you have an idea, let's talk about it and let's bring it forth. Everyone's like, oh, it's going to be expensive or it's going to require training. It's like, don't tell me all the reasons it won't work. Let's get together and figure out what the benefit is. Let's solve the problem and move forward. That's been the big push as of late. Give me a solution. I'll hear you complain, but I also want a solution. And then when we're coming up with, what should we do next? It's like, what's annoying in your day? What don't you like to do? No one likes to read through all the emails. Well, guess what? You got a co-pilot that can do that for you and tell you what's important and what's not important. So use that. Figure out a way to apply that to yourself and then share it with your colleagues. And then we'll all be, we'll have much more time on our hands to find all the fun, cool stuff to do. Yeah. So that's my MO basically right there.
I gotta find a way to eliminate one-on-ones with Ari.
Whoa. He only means the ones at the Grain Gang. I'm a little bit more aggressive on
Yes.
those one-on-ones.
Yes.
Yeah. So, Sean, one of the other kind of main themes on a lot of these conversations is like trust, governance, visibility of what AI is doing. And you've kind of mentioned it a couple of times around like, letting a person be involved in the process until the trust is formed. And, talk to me a little bit about what that journey has been like, right? Because, Sean and I joke about these AI FTEs or, AI assistants, right, or the interns that come in, and it's great to train them, but like, it's a little bit different gaining trust with your AI than it is gaining trust with, your peer that you're talking to about these things. And whether that's right or wrong is up for us to debate, but I'm curious, like, how have you handled the trust and the governance aspect of this journey as well?
Yeah, where I work, we are an insurance company, so we are naturally risk averse and really very cautious about those kinds of things. And enabling AI in mass took a long time. ChatGPT, Copilot, all those things have been available for years. We're just now starting to get to the point where we're comfortable to say, okay, in your everyday work life, Assurant employee, you can use these tools. We've fenced them in, so you're not going to be giving the company secrets away, through some kind of AI thing. If you want a new AI application or you want to build onto your application with AI, there's a whole, it's like 47 questions on the form, and then it has to go through the board. So we're very protective of our data. At the same time, telling people we've put the guardrails in place. You're not going to make anything bad happen. Go experiment. Go do what you think is great. We're starting to see people putting in requests about, I want to build an agent to help me through my day, but I can't quite get to this point yet. And we're like, oh, now what have we done? Because we don't have a staff to support. How do I get my AI to work? We don't have an AI support line, And is the AI giving them the right answer, or is it putting them down the wrong path? Do we need AI HR? Who's going to manage all these agents at these AI FTEs out there? So
I
That's the
love it.
conversation we're starting to have now is how do we love being in control of things, but we don't want to squash anybody's ambition, right? We want them to be curious and go find these things with the proper guardrails in place.
Bot manager, I think that's the
Yeah.
next thing, like I truly believe that. I mean, some of what we're seeing, and I do think of like these bots as trainees and interns, and they kind of start with that level of intelligence and experience, and then like as you invest in them, they become like an employee and a partner, and like I really do think of it that way. And if you're gonna get mad at it making a mistake, you don't have the same kind of need for emotional intelligence when you're training a bot, but you definitely need like some level of understanding about, like, I mean, with humans, right? A lot of it is like, how do they receive feedback? How do I give them feedback so that they are improving? And with humans, there's a lot of like what you got to figure out with um, their emotional levels, where they're at, like what are the types of things, like how do you motivate them? But with bots, it's more about how do you understand the algorithms? Do you understand how it learns? And like you said before, of am I formatting the text correctly so that it can understand it and do what I need it to do? And so there's definitely a piece to this that's like you're kind of retraining of like, now how do I speak to a agentic solution and train it, and what feedback mechanisms are best to like help progress it. I mean, I don't know. There's a whole, you joked about the bot HR, but like I could imagine there being a whole training program about how to train bots, which is very similar. It's a training programs
Mm-hmm.
I've seen about how to manage effectively, how to give feedback to
Yeah.
employees
Sure.
effectively. So it's
Yeah, it's the ML part of everything. How are the machines learning, and how are you making sure that if we're applying some AI that we found on the internet that
yeah.
was built for the defense industry, we don't want to use that in the insurance industry. That's not going to match. How do we? Some of that's good. How do we give it better context and, like you said, retrain it and govern that it's doing the right thing and not going off on its own? you know.
Well, and just like when you
Exciting
bring a new
times.
employee on, when you teach them, like, don't open these phishing emails and things, like, you've got to put guardrails on every agent that comes in. Like, don't be passing
Hmm.
PII around,
How
don't go into our
ambitious?
database and pull every person
How
and
ambitious is your
yeah,
agent that you just brought in? Are they going to
Yeah.
go try to do someone else's job or not?
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely. I mean, that's one of the fun parts about this, right? We talked about the shifting metrics. We talked about the shifting experience of onboarding a new agent. So, I guess last question before we start to get fun and future visiony, because that's always how we like to end these. Is one of the things that Sean and I talk about a lot is like, how do you get started? So if somebody's listening to this episode, they're, a little cautious, or they haven't really started in the game, like bringing this to their business, but they've started playing around with it on their own. How do you recommend they get started in like, taking this experience and bringing some of the AI value that you're talking about to their organization?
Yeah. There's two things. Train yourself. Go out there. There's so much information on the internet with really good quality, easy to use, easy to consume, like little web sessions, little 20-minute, 30-minute videos that talk about how do I get AI to do what I want? It's the prompting. How do I ask the right question? And how do I know the outcome is good? And it gives you the information you need. Microsoft's got a lot of programs. There's a whole bunch of different groups that you can get the information from. But then you have to ask yourself, yeah, it's really cool stuff, but what does it mean? How is this helping me? How is this helping my company? And applying that and being able to sort of write a business case, right? To say, hey, I think instead of, asking everybody what their name is when they call in, can't we write a script or have a bot go find them in the system and know who they are right away? And that will save everybody's, ask those kinds of really simple questions, really easy things that don't take a lot of time, but would really save time when you put it all together and add up all the numbers and stuff. So if you're starting out trying to figure out how do I what's the best way to learn about AI and how do I do it is just take advantage of the coursework, the webinars, the videos. Microsoft's Copilot stuff is great. Probably not the best AI tool available. I mean, but yeah, check them all out. Google's AI, Claude, all of those things, depending upon your role. There's so much information on the web. You can even use the AI to say, hey, I'm a frontline agent. What do I need to know about AI? And it'll guide you through give you a virtual, coursework or a syllabus.
That feels so Inception. Let the AI help you AI. I like it.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I did. I mean, that's how I said, as a leader, how do I make sure everyone has what they need in the AI world? And it comes up and gives you a big list of things you can throw them away if you don't like them. You can use them to your advantage, and then you can drill in further. So tell me more about option 2. And if option 2 is, go to some university and get a degree in computer technology, then, well, tell me why that's important. And you can keep asking it and make it reason and give you a reason for doing that. So if you're starting out, use the internet and talk to your colleagues that you see as rising stars, or somebody that looks like they know what they're doing. Just ask them a question.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the information sharing age is even further progressed with this, right? There's a lot of great content out there.
And challenge your assumptions, right? So if you think you can't do something because we're not allowed to, well, challenge that. Maybe you will be allowed to if you explain it right. If you make the right use case with your leaders, there's no reason they shouldn't.
Yeah, no, that comes back to the trust that you were talking about building before. So definitely,
yes,
thinking about problems differently. Cool. So I like to use the last couple minutes. I know we're getting towards the end of our time. I like to talk about the future. So, if you looked into your crystal ball, Bob, like what do you see, the future, the biggest opportunities of the next round of AI doing for you? And how do you, what if you could wish or will something into fruition, what would that be?
What I get really excited about, I read about some of the really, really cool contact center as a service and how it's powered by AI with instant voice translation. So you can call from China and speak in Mandarin, and the English person will hear you in English. So that is really, really powerful, and that's going to shrink the world. I mean, that is the kind of next big thing that I think is going to really, people are just going to be blown away with how quickly and how accurately things are translated through voice calls. I think nobody wants to call for help, but nobody wants to have that taken away as an option either. So when you do call, you want it to be quick, you want to be to the right person quickly, and you want them to understand your problem in the way that you're explaining it through your voice, not typing it in and getting prompts. Okay, no, not that. Being able to speak in natural language and having the AI behind it interpreting your voice, not even a human on the other end, but that's the future thing that I think is really exciting, and it's really going to be mind blowing. And we're seeing some of it. There are some companies that are using some of that right now. It's a little bit slow.
Early. Yeah.
But you can see where it's going, and it's like, wow, this is going to be phenomenal.
Well, especially I think that's really cool in the IT industry, right? I mean, early in my days, I'm dating myself some, but early when Google Translate was like one of the big things we used for ticket management. I remember I was working with a French company and we did translation, and there's a lot of words that like mean what you say, but don't actually say what you mean. And the example that I always think back to is like, I was working with this French company and everyone on the team was talking about the IT tickets, and the French translation of ticket is billet, but no one who speaks French knows that's what you mean when you use that in the term, because it means like plane ticket or train ticket, right? And nobody's thinking about an IT ticket to board a train or whatever. And so like it's cool that these LLMs are starting to use not just translation, but contextual aware translation. And I think that's I agree. I think that's really cool. And when that gets up to speed where it's not you speaking to me and then 30 seconds later, I get the translation, it's truly like a live experience. That is going to be for sure a world shrinking event. And definitely cool.
With the right context, like you said. I mean, in a lot of the romance languages, that it's masculine versus feminine. You don't want to say the wrong thing And so it has to be able to understand all of that and do all that. So yeah, really, really excited about that big next turn of the crank.
It's scary that AI knows how to speak English better than a lot of us know how to speak English anyway.
Where's it learning it from? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Can't curse nearly as well as I do, though. So
No.
that.
That's one way to trick the AI is to throw some swear words in your prompts. It won't know how to handle it. So.
Sounds like now I understand why AI is giving me all these weird answers.
Yes.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you definitely taking the time to speak with us today. I know we covered a pretty in-depth topic. Any parting wisdom you'd want to leave with the viewers before we induct you into the Grain Gang in an off-screen ritual?
Yeah. It's like I said, the mantra should be simplify, streamline, automate in that order. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Don't boil the ocean, whatever cliche you want to throw in there, but that's the way to go. And you will get success in everything by following those steps.
Love that.
I like that. That's very similar to Sean's, that and get started. Don't wait. You got to do something. So yeah, definitely. Well, again, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for sharing your wisdom and your experiences with us. We really appreciate it. And to the viewers, thanks for listening. And I would be remiss if I didn't plug, if you're looking to be a guest, if you're looking for articles to add, make sure to send an email to our agentsofit@resolve.io. And as Ian so gracefully says, or I guess Sean, you like and subscribe, everybody, since you like to have your kids.
Doesn't he already have an outro for that? Yeah, like and subscribe. My kids will love that.
Yes.
Well, thanks everybody.
Thanks for the opportunity, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Agents of IT. If today's conversation got you thinking differently about your own IT operations, or if you're curious about how agentic automation is helping teams make the zero-ticket vision a reality, please don't forget to like and subscribe. You won't want to miss what's next. See you next time.